music and was attended by senior government officials and regional dignitaries.
Irmãos e irmãs, nesta primeira cena do Evangelho, vejo refletida a história de Angola. Do Evangelho dos discípulos de Emaús.
The gathering represents one of the largest religious assemblies in the country's recent history, following months of preparation by the Vatican and the Angola Catholic Church. Still on foreign news, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is scheduled to face intense questioning in Parliament following the resignation of Peter Mandelson amid a vetting scandal. Opposition parties have intensified demands for a full inquiry and the Prime Minister's resignation over the handling of the appointment. Peter Mandelson resigned his position following revelations regarding the security vetting process used for his latest government role. The Conservative and Liberal Democrat parties have filed formal requests for the release of all correspondence related to the appointment. The Prime Minister's office has maintained that established protocols were followed, though critics cite a failure in oversight. The debate in the House of Commons is expected to focus on the transparency of the Cabinet Office's vetting unit. The resignation has triggered a fresh wave of political pressure on the Labour government as it attempts to manage internal discord and external opposition demands. It is a bullish season as we look into the markets now for the Nigerian exchange as the stock market rally intensifies. Now, investors have seen their wealth grow by a massive 8.7 trillion naira in a significant trading surge. The market capitalization surged as blue chip stocks recorded impressive gains. Now, analysts point to strong corporate earnings and positive market sentiment as the primary drivers. Trading volume remained high as both local and foreign investors positioned themselves in high-performing sectors. This rally is a reflection of the underlying strength of the companies on the exchange. Now, gaining 8.7 trillion naira in this window is a massive signal of confidence in the Nigerian market. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has issued a high-priority health alert. Counterfeit versions of popular toothpaste brands have been discovered circulating in markets across Kaduna State. NAFDAC officials discovered the fake products during a routine market surveillance exercise. The agency warned that these products contain substandard chemicals that pose a significant health risk. Consumers are urged to check for NAFDAC registration numbers and purchase from reputable sources. The zonal coordinator said they have seized several batches of these suspected counterfeit toothpaste and warns the public in Kaduna and surrounding areas to be extremely vigilant when purchasing dental care products. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, known as the FCCPC, has moved to quell rumors regarding the telecommunications sector. The tragedy states, this agency states that there is no ban on the transfer of airtime or data credit. Viral reports have suggested that the government was planning to restrict airtime and data sharing between subscribers. The FCCPC clarified that no such directive has been issued to telecommunication companies. The regulator urged Nigerians to disregard the misinformation and continue using their services as usual. A statement from the FCCPC reads, and I quote, "There is truth to the claims that airtime or data credit transfers have been banned. We encourage consumers to report any provider that denies them these services based on false information." End of quote. Now to entertainment news. Femi Kuti has put an end to rumors regarding the music catalogue of his father, the legendary Fela Anikulapo Kuti. He confirmed today that the family remains in full control of all music rights. Reports had circulated suggesting that a foreign entity had purchased the rights to Fela's extensive library. Femi Kuti clarified that no such deal has taken place and the legacy remains with the Kuti estate. The announcement is seen as a major statement on the preservation of African musical heritage. Femi stated this clearly for the world to know that the Kuti family has not sold Fela's music rights, that the family retains full ownership and control of his entire catalogue. Still on entertainment matters, Governor Ademola Adeleke has showered praises on his nephew and global music star, Davido. The governor commended the artist for using his platform to promote the Osun family and heritage during a recent performance in the United States. Davido mentioned his Osun roots and showcased family pride during his sold-out concert in America. Governor Adeleke stated that Davido's success continues to put Osun State on the global cultural map. The governor encouraged other Osun indigenes to always project their roots positively. The governor said Davido is a great ambassador for Osun and emphasized that seeing him promote the family and state in the United States makes the Adeleke's very proud. And lastly, in entertainment, a judge in New Mexico has denied a request by actor Alec Baldwin to dismiss an involuntary manslaughter charge against him. The ruling ensures that the legal proceedings will move forward in relation to the 2021 fatal shooting on the set of the film, Rust. Defense attorneys for Baldwin had argued that the prosecution failed to present key evidence to the grand jury. The judge ruled that the grand jury proceedings were conducted fairly and that there was sufficient cause for the case to proceed to trial. The charge stems from the death of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins, who was fatally wounded when a prop gun held by Baldwin discharged a live round. The film's armorer, Anna Gutierrez-Reed, has already been convicted of involuntary manslaughter in a separate trial related to the same incident. Baldwin has maintained that he did not pull the trigger and was told the weapon was cold, meaning it contained no live ammunition. With the motion to dismiss denied, the court is now preparing for the trial phase, where the actions and safety protocols on the movie set will be under full examination. And now to sports. In the world of sports entertainment, a Nigerian star has been born. Oba Femi has shocked the wrestling world by defeating Brock Lesnar on his very first WrestleMania appearance in under 5 minutes at WrestleMania 42 on Sunday. The Nigeria debutant faced the former champion in a high-intensity match that kept fans on the edge of their seats. Oba Femi's victory is being hailed as one of the greatest upsets in the history of the event. The win has immediately propelled the Nigerian athlete into the global spotlight of professional wrestling. Oba Femi said, and I quote, "I told the world I was coming to make history. To beat a legend like Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania is just the beginning for Nigeria on this stage." End of quote. And now to athletics. Athletics star Favour Ofili and Turkey, they are moving to challenge a recent World Athletics ruling. The appeal has been formally filed at the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS. The challenge centers around a World Athletics ruling that impacted eligibility and ranking. Ofili and Turkey are seeking a reversal of the decision to to ensure fairness in upcoming international competitions. Recall that the World Athletics Body denied 11 athletes, which included Nigerian Favour Odili amongst others, transfer of allegiance to Turkey. A final decision from CAS is expected before the start of the summer athletics season. A statement from the Federation in Turkey reads, and I quote, "We believe the ruling was unfair. We are taking this to CAS to ensure that justice is served for all athletes involved." End of quote. And lastly, in the world of sports, Erling Haaland secured a crucial victory for Manchester City in their title showdown against Arsenal. The win significantly impacts the race for the Premier League trophy as the season nears its conclusion. Haaland scored a decisive goal to make it 2-1 in a tightly contested match at the Etihad Stadium on Sunday. The victory moves Manchester City closer to the top of the table, narrowing the gap with Arsenal to 3 points. Arsenal dominated possession for large periods, but were unable to convert the chances against a resolute City defense. The result is seen as a pivotal moment in the current campaign, with only a few matches remaining. The victory provides Manchester City with momentum as they enter the final stretch of the domestic season. And that wraps up Metro Update for today. I am Fred Onin. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.
This is TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action to exclusive local events, we keep you connected. Celebrate our culture, people, and voices with powerful documentaries and inspiring stories. Experience premium entertainment, from trending music to urban lifestyle and beyond. Grow your spirit with life-changing messages and uplifting perspectives. Lead the way with bold conversations, fresh ideas, and thought-provoking shows. Wherever you are, whenever you want, watch TVM on all your devices. TVM, your world, your network.
This is TVM Express, and I'm Lawrence Junior Aguele, and let's begin with what we have on the dailies this morning. So we'll start with the Punch newspapers. On the Punch newspapers, we have that APC imposes 2-week deadlines for presidential governor NAF forms. So the APC has imposed deadlines for people to go, or for party members to go get their forms. Then at the top there, you have no respite for Ernest Ohijesi and Nest Oil as federal court discharges ex-party orders restraining EFCC from investigating Amaranta Oil and Gas Deployment Limited. So you go check that out. That's a very long header there. So then on the corner there, or the top of the corner there, you see fresh turmoil in PDP as Wike camp rolls out primary plan. PDP still have 2 camps, the Wike camp and the other camp. And under there, you see over 4,600 Nigerian doctors relocate to UK in 3 years. That is according to reports. Then you have Obi Kwankwaso launch joint movement before ADC primaries. So it looks like both of them are working on teaming up together. Then on the bottom there, you see Daniel shot out as Ogun APC endorses Abiodun for Senate. Then on the next paper, which is the Tribune, in the Tribune newspaper there, at the top corner there, you still see Daniel shot out as Ogun East APC endorses Abiodun for Senate. We didn't prevent him from entering. That is according to Abiodun's aide. Then from Kwara State there, you have 4 soldiers, vigilante, feared killed in terrorist attacks. It's now becoming rampant. If it's not terrorist attack, then it's kidnapping. Well, we just pray that very soon we will overcome these insecurity challenges we have in this country. Then the bold header there on the right now, you see how ADC presidential candidate may emerge. United opposition movement to midwife consensus option. This is according to sources. So some sources are speculating how the ADC presidential candidate may emerge. Then you have PDP crisis. You have Wike calls for committee on reconciliation. Wike calls on committee on reconciliation. If the PDP is serious, they need to put their house together, obviously, because they can't continue like this. Then on page 6, you will get CBN wants banks to unlock $1 billion monthly diaspora inflow by year end. So get a copy of the Tribune and find out what that desire is all about. Then forensic reports reveals Amopitan has no X account. This is according to INEC. That is in page 2. Interesting that INEC can do a forensic audit of social media accounts these days. All right, that is in response to the stories that made rounds, that have been making rounds of the partisanship of the INEC chairman going by his old social media posts or tweets, as the case might be. Now INEC are saying, well, the chairman has no X account. Then on the middle there, you see APC presidential candidate to emerge on May 16. National Working Committee, that's the NWC, fixes governorship primaries for May 23rd. That you can find on page 2 of the Daily Tribune, of the Nigeria Tribune, I beg your pardon. Then on health stories, you see air pollution raises cancer risk by 11%. This is according to some global reports, and they're warning that air pollution raises cancer risk by 11%. And on page 4, you'll find a story that says that Tinubu approves 15 billion naira takeoff grant for new police academy campus in Ogun State. I think that's about it for the Daily Tribune. Let's go to the next papers we have on our lineup there, and that is the Guardian newspaper. And from the Guardian newspaper, you have the main header there, the main writer there, politics overshadows governance as NAS observes 93-day recess in 2026. I think the National Assembly is the only job in this world that you take more holidays than you work. They are always going on recess. Work 2 days, go on recess. Work 1 week, go on recess. 93-day recess is about that is almost if we go on an average that a month is about 30 days, that is, you're looking at 3 months on holidays, and we have 12 months in a year. So these people only work for 9 months, and they don't work weekends. Well, they observed 93 days recess in 2026. You can read that story in page 6 to find out if the recess is recessed so far, because it's going to be very ridiculous if it's so far in 2026, because this is just April, or is the whole recess they are going to observe for the year. Go to page 26 and find out. I don't have that information, but I think it's a good information to find out. Then on the top there, you see CDS charges troops to crush bandits, keep Nigeria safe at all costs. Same old, same old. Then at the middle there, you see INEC says fake S account was used to frame chairman as ADC youth protests. That is their words against other people's words. Then on page 3, you see PDP NEC adopts 2027 election timetable declares end to crisis. The other paper says Wike is calling for a reconciliation committee, while this one says the PDP is declaring end to crisis. So you read both papers to find out what exactly they're talking about. You can find that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Then also on that page 6, you'll see party leaders intensify contingency moves as ADC denies PRP talks. With a picture of David Mark there, so you find out what they mean about that. Then police pensioners take welfare protests to presidential villa. Interestingly, that police can protest to the president when they always act like all is well with them. Well, the pensioners now are taking their protests to the presidential villa. You get more of that story on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. Then NBC directives to broadcasters erode press freedom, independence, says NUJ. Yeah, a couple of days, NBC released a press statement that a lot of people see as a gag order to journalists to reduce their maybe their opinions on air and stuff like that. But you have Amnesty International spoke about it, the Nigerian Union of Journalists who are also speaking about it. Then down there on page 8, on the metro section of the Guardian newspaper, see midnight fire raises therapy building at Yaba Neuropsychiatric Hospital. And on page 29, you see bandits kill 4 soldiers and vigilante in Kwara State. And down there at the bottom, alleged 8.7 billion naira fraud. Court admits 9 exhibits against Malami wife and son. And on the other corner there, you have Daniel versus Abiodun, plot for Ogun East Senatorial District tickets thickens. So the political game has started in Ogun State. That's all from the Guardian, unless let's check out the Daily Trust newspaper. On the Daily Trust newspaper, on the rider there, you see INEC clears chair. Amoputan must go protest swell. That's what you have on the rider. And on the top left corner there, you have 2027 Obi Kwankwaso supporters launch OK movements. Okay, so there's now an OK movement. Obi Kwankwaso supporters launch it. And in the middle there, you see asked to WAEC examinations or WAEC exams, SCT teachers down tools. And you have APC begins primaries May 15, pegs presidential form at 100 million naira. That is ridiculously high. 100 million naira for presidential form. And the bottom there, you see pension scheme. Police retirees take protests to villa. And then you see 3 soldiers, 12 others killed. Passengers abducted in Kwara and other stories. Tinubu approves new police academic campus, 15 billion naira takeoff grants. Then what you need to know about new BVN rules. So go get a copy of the Daily Trust to find more information about that. And the Nation's newspaper is next. In the Nation, you have on the top left ABGA plans primaries for May 23rd. PDP to release dates. That's on page 2. In the middle of the top there, you see Ogun East stakeholders lock out Daniel at Abiodun's secretarial endorsement meeting. And the other side, you have YIG panel on state police gives 60 months. YIG's panel on state police gives 60 months timeline. Then on the rider, you have APC presidential governorship primary fees for May 15th and 23rd. The National State Assemblies to hold May 18th, 20th, and 21st. And the full timetable has been released. Hopefully, we'll have time to really talk about the timetable of their primaries and other political affairs that is happening right now across the nation. Then on that, you can see Edun saying reforms driving investor confidence. Growth now accelerating. So And if you want to find the names like that, get a copy of The Nation newspaper. At the bottom there, see 3 soldiers, 4 killed in terrorist attack on Kwara military base. It's unfortunate that it looks like almost every day we have this story about terrorist attack. Hopefully the government of the day gets to do something about it and make sure these incidents are minimal at best. Then lastly, we go to the Vanguard newspapers. The Vanguard newspapers, you have many terrorists, 3 soldiers killed in Kwara gun battle. Insecurity, many terrorists, 3 soldiers killed in Kwara gun battle. Then at the top there, Tinubu disconnected from hardship facing Nigeria. That is according to Hakeem Baba Ahmed. Tinubu disconnected from hardship facing Nigeria. Then in the middle, on page 8, you can find 2027, no talks with PRP yet. We are focused on court case. That's the ADC saying that. And you have the ex-CP Osheni saying, stop running to Abuja. Governors can fix insecurity. That's ex-police CP Osheni saying that. Then we also have at the top there, just above the rider there, we have something about someone who at Commonwealth Trade Investment Summit. That's the photograph you're seeing there, the picture of the governor and some other people at the Commonwealth Trade Investment Summit. Then on my right there, you see on the right side of your screen there, you see alleged money laundering. Court admits more exhibits against SAGF Malami son wife. Then police pensioners protest in Abuja block Villa access roads. That is on page 9. And on page 35, you see 2027 APC PEX presidential form at 100 million. Primary holds May 15th. And on page 10, you'll see the Senate East APC leaders endorse Abiodun Badania. Then you'll see columnists giving their opinion that Dakuku, that's page 16 and 10 line, page 18. Then on the bottom right of your screen, you can see Mr. and Mrs. there. See Mrs. saying, can you tell me that you don't have a side chick? And the man responding, I have a chick, but not a side chick. I have an inside chick, a chick inside my house. That is Mr. and Mrs. there talking about the businesses of side chick. Side chick these days now is now becoming it's not almost looking like a mainstay in the economy of Nigeria. A lot of people now rely on it. That's on the lighter notes. But I think that is all we have on today's paper this morning on TVM Express. We quickly go to the world of social media to bring you some stories that we have there this morning. First of all, you have Casa resident protesting military presence after deadly attacks. As the resident of Casa protesting military presence after deadly attack. Then as I think yesterday and this morning, you also have stories of a festival at Ejeba trending, where you saw videos online, you saw videos of people being flogged by masquerades. A lot of people have called on the Delta State Police Command to look into it and have something done about it. It is becoming ridiculous that we are having issues like this almost every other time. I still don't get the reasons for all this kind of festival. Festivals are meant to celebrate. Why do people harm people in the course of celebrating? Festivals are meant to give honor to something. Why are people being hurt? So either the festivals need to be adjusted, or they have to look into the way it is being celebrated, so they don't go about hurting innocents or hurting people who do not even understand why they are being hurt in the first place. All right, down to Casa. Residents protest military presence after deadly attack. On the 21st of April, residents of Casa, that is residents of Casa in Nigeria, Plateau State, mostly women and youths, protested by destroying a military checkpoint. demanding troop leave amid ongoing attacks by suspected Fulani militants that killed at least 6 people late on April 20th. The demonstration followed a residence burial and frustration over violence in nearby Bakin Ladi and Riyom areas, despite security presence, with calls also for releasing arrested youths who defended their communities. The long-running clash between Christian farmers and Fulani herders have killed dozens in 2026, displacing thousands and eroding trust in security forces, though claim calm returned after talks with no protest casualties. So the castle resident protested. It is interesting to note that there was heavily military presence in those areas, and yet we still have cases of insecurity. We still have people coming to kill people coming to kidnap people. Hence the reason why they are protesting. Like, if we have you here in this great number, how come we are still having challenges? Then you have the 48-year-old Nigerian radio host, Robbie Ekpo, shared on the Honest Bunch podcast that he met Mayowa Lambe via direct message in 2015, married her 5 months later, and endured 6 years of long distance while sending her money despite his struggles. He alleged he secretly used contraceptives, mismatched their intimacy needs, and refused affection during the visit, all while he hoped for children. The heartbreak peaked in April 2026 when he saw her Texas wedding photos online, her third marriage, prompting him to wish it well sarcastically while still wearing his ring. Look, people of the world, emotions will destroy you. Honestly, all this relationship, love, will put you in corners that you do not like. I am not preaching that you should not love. I am preaching that you should apply some very good element of wisdom to your level of love. Don't get blown away in your emotions for no reasons. Honestly, you don't get that. A pastor once told me that love can lead you to the altar, but after that, what keeps the marriage together is functionality, not just love. How functional is your relationship? So if you find yourself in a relationship that is not functional, please discard emotion and just face the facts, because there are a lot of red flags in this story I'm reading from a 48-year-old man who is matured. Like, how do you get married to somebody long distance? You met somebody online via DM. 5 months later, you're married. Like, just imagine you spoke on DM. 5 months later, you are married. You are not living in the same area. You are not in the same place. It's a diaspora relationship, as the case may be. And you got married, and she's living outside the country. And for 6 years, you were enjoying a long distance relationship. Meanwhile, you were sending somebody money. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The whole story sounds like, well, whatever. I don't want to kick somebody when he's down. I just hope he gets better and gets better luck next time he goes on a relationship. Then we also have the story of retired pensioners or retired police officer blocking Aso Rock gate over pension bill delay. That has actually made almost all the dailies today. Then on a very sad note, I saw the video of this yesterday, and I also saw another one this morning, where gunmen killed a bus driver and abducted passengers on the Benin Ore Benin Expressway. It was an eastbound GUO transport bus on the 20th of April between Edo and Ondo states, and it's a forested stretch notorious for ambushes, despite over 10 police checkpoints. Eyewitness video shows the bus veered off the road with passengers inside as gunmen fired with an unspecified number into nearby. Let me read it well so we can get the information. Eyewitness video showed the bus veered off the road with passengers inside as gunmen fled with an unspecified numbers into nearby bushland. The soldiers were nearby but did not intervene. Edo State Police confirmed the incident and launched a manhunt and rescue operation, while unverified claims of more deaths circulate. It is becoming a problem. We have a lot of police checkpoints on the roads, and we still have incidents like this. We also have military checkpoints, and we still have such incidents occurring. I won't be surprised if a couple of poles or a couple of short distance from where that incident happened, you will either see a military checkpoint or a police checkpoint there, and they are there, not doing anything about it. So we seem to react after the fact, like the Edo State Police Command reacting after the kidnap has been done. The man has lost his life already. So you catch the people who killed this man. What would that do for the man? He's dead. So I think Prieti have always maintained that preemptive measures should be taken on cases like this, which the security forces or security apparatus in the country try to figure out a way to make sure things like this do not happen. If they're about to happen, how do we curb it at the nick of time? And you have Tinubu Chief of Staff urging ADC lawmakers to fight party foes from within. Right, party foes from within ADC and their problem. They seem to try to be getting their house together, but it has been so up, the up and down has been so severe that even people from other political parties are now beginning to give them advice on how to run their party. All right, and in sports story, Roman Reigns in WWE. I have to take WWE story today because I'm a bit excited. Roman Reigns reunites Bloodline as Jacob Fatu demands title shot on Raw after Mania. Why that is not the story I am going after, I am very glad and delighted about Oba Femi, his meteoric rise in the WWE barely a year. He's a shot putter and he joined the WWE, and he had his first WrestleMania and won it in the last WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar, in what looks like a retiring match for Brock Lesnar. So I'm kind of glad for WWE. On one hand, they probably have gotten a good replacement for Brock Lesnar, because Oba is like the African version of Brock Lesnar in terms of size and physicality. So it's a good one for the Nigerian, and it's a good one for WWE. Then you have Bayern Munich claiming their 35th Bundesliga title with 4-2 win over Stuttgart. And Ronaldo scores first AFC goal in Al Nassr 4-0 rout of Al Wassil. So I think that is all we can take from this episode of Daily Updates on TVM Express. TVM Express will continue after the break. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Dursag Engineering and Services Limited. We hold several specialized permits with the Department of Petroleum Resources, are accredited with service and product codes by NIPEX, certified by Dun & Bradstreet, and proudly ISO 9001:2015 certified. Our areas of expertise cut across critical sectors, including manpower sourcing and supply, engineering services, construction and fabrication works, specialized procurement and supply, operations and maintenance services, and integrated marine services, delivering supply boats, crew boats, tugboats, barges, houseboats, and speed boats. At Dursag Engineering, we are committed to quality, safety, and timely delivery, ensuring that every project meets and exceeds expectations. Dursag Engineering and Services Limited, your trusted partner in delivering world-class engineering and energy solutions.
Hey everyone, look, everybody's got an opinion, but not everybody gets heard. That's why we made Your Perspective with real people, real stories, my opinion, your opinion, with zero filter. We'll talk about the things that you argue with your friends, your family, your loved ones, but now on your TV. We make it funny, we make it messy, we make it loud, and we'll also make it sometimes controversial, but we'll always keep it 100 with you, our amazing viewers. Tune in and bring in your takes, send in your comments, send in your messages so you can be part of this amazing segment. Let's make some noise, because Your Perspective airs every Friday 12 p.m. and West African time. And if you're not watching, you're just part of someone else's perspective. everyone. Look, everybody's got an opinion, but not everybody gets heard.
Democracy had an engine room, the National Assembly would be right at the center of it. From lawmaking to keeping government powers in check, this arm of government plays a crucial role in how Nigeria is run. But what exactly does the National Assembly do, and why does it matter to us as everyday Nigerians? Let's break it down.
The National Assembly is Nigeria's federal legislature, established under the 1999 Constitution. It is responsible for making laws for the entire country and represents the Nigerian people at the national level. Nigeria operates a bicameral legislature, meaning the National Assembly has two chambers. The first is the Senate, which consists of 109 members. Each of Nigeria's 36 states elects 3 senators, while the Federal Capital Territory elects 1. The second chamber is the House of Representatives, made up of 360 members elected from federal constituencies across the country, based largely on population. Together, these two chambers ensure that both population size and geographical spread are represented in national decision-making. So why does Nigeria operate 2 legislative chambers instead of 1? The bicameral system is designed to promote balance and careful decision-making. While the House of Representatives reflects population distribution, the Senate ensures equal representation of each state. This structure prevents dominance by more populous regions and encourages broader national consensus before laws are passed. It also creates an internal system of checks where both chambers review and debate legislation independently. The primary responsibility of the National Assembly is lawmaking. A proposed law, known as a bill, can be introduced by a lawmaker or forwarded by the executive arm of government. Each bill goes through a structured process. The first reading, where it is formally introduced. The second reading, where principles are debated. The committee stage, where detailed examination takes place. And the third reading, where final approval is sought. Public hearings may be held, allowing experts, civil society groups, and citizens to contribute to the process. Once passed by both chambers, the bill is sent to the president for assessment. If the president refuses to sign, the Constitution allows the National Assembly to override that decision with a 2/3 majority, reinforcing the legislature's independence. But the work of the National Assembly doesn't stop at lawmaking. One of its most critical responsibilities is oversight. This means monitoring how government ministries, departments, and agencies carry out their duties. Through committee hearings, investigations, and summons, the National Assembly can question public officials on policy implementation and spending. Ministers and heads of agencies are required to explain their actions and justify the use of public funds. This oversight role is vital for transparency, accountability, and preventing misuse of power. One of the most influential powers of the National Assembly lies in the nation's finances. Each year, the President presents the national budget to a joint session of the National Assembly. Lawmakers review the proposed spending, debate allocations, and make necessary amendments. No government can legally occur without the approval of the National Assembly. The legislature also approves external and domestic loans, monitors government borrowing, and ensures that the public funds are spent according to approved budgets. This authority gives the National Assembly significant influence over Nigeria's economic priorities and development plans. Members of the National Assembly are elected to speak for the people. Lawmakers represent specific constituencies and senatorial districts. They raise motions, sponsor bills, and advocate for projects that reflect the needs of their communities. Ideally, this ensures national policies consider the realities on ground, from infrastructure and education to security and healthcare. Through this representative role, citizens' concerns are meant to reach the federal level. The National Assembly also serves as a guardian of the Constitution. It has the power to amend the constitution, approve key appointments such as ministers and ambassadors, and confirm judicial nominees. In extreme cases, the National Assembly can initiate impeachment proceedings against the president, vice president, and other top officials following constitutional procedures. These responsibilities help maintain balance among Nigeria's three arms of government: the executive, legislature, and judiciary. Despite its importance, the National Assembly faces criticism. Issues such as low public trust, concerns over transparency, and debates around remuneration have shaped public perception. However, the effectiveness of the National Assembly often reflects broader democratic challenges, including voter participation, accountability, and civic engagement. Strengthening the legislature ultimately requires active citizen involvement and sustained democratic pressure.
In simple terms, the National Assembly makes laws, checks government powers, controls public spending, and represents the people. While debates continue about performance and responsibilities, its role remains central to democracy. Understanding how it works helps citizens know where power lies and how to demand for better governance. Alright guys, that is all on this episode of Explained. Do well to follow us on all social media platforms. Follow, like, and share, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome to Dursag Engineering and Services Limited. We hold several specialized permits with the Department of Petroleum Resources, are accredited with service and product codes by NIPEX, certified by Dun & Bradstreet, and proudly ISO 9001:2015 certified. Our areas of expertise cut across critical sectors, including manpower sourcing and supply, engineering services, construction and fabrication works, specialized procurement and supply, operations and maintenance services, and integrated marine services, delivering supply boats, crew boats, tugboats, barges, houseboats, and speed boats. At Dursag Engineering, we are committed to quality, safety, and timely delivery, ensuring that every project meets and exceeds expectations. Dursag Engineering and Services Limited, your trusted partner in delivering world-class engineering and energy solutions.
In every democracy, power does not operate in silence. Someone must ask the questions, tell the stories, and shine the lights where others would rather keep things hidden. In Nigeria, that responsibility largely falls on the media. From newspaper and radio to television and digital platform, the media plays a powerful role in how the country is governed. Here on Explain, we're going to be looking at the roles of media in governance, how it informs, checks powers, shapes public opinion, and strengthens democracy.
When we talk about the media, we mean newspapers, radio, television, and digital platforms such as news websites and social media. In Nigeria, the media reaches millions of people every day, in cities, towns, and rural communities. From early morning radio to the late night TV news, the media is often the first source of information to the public. The first major role of the media in governance is information. The media tells Nigerians what the government is doing, new policies, budgets, laws, appointments, and national decisions. Without the media, most citizens would be completely disconnected from the government activities. By reporting the news, the media keeps governance visible and open to the public. Another important role of the media is acting as a watchdog. Journalists observe government actions, investigate wrongdoing, and expose corruption or abuse of power. When public funds are misused or leaders fail to do their jobs, the media brings these issues to public attention. This role helps discourage bad behavior in government and remind leaders that the public is watching. Because of media reports, government officials are often forced to explain their actions. When stories trend in the media, ministries issue statements, agencies respond, and sometimes investigations are opened. This process is called accountability. Leaders being answerable to the people. In this way, the media helps balance power between the government and its citizens. The media does not only report news, it also educates the public. Through discussions, interviews, and special programs, the media explains government policies, citizens' rights, and national issues in simple language. Radio programs in local languages and TV discussions help Nigerians understand how governance affects their daily lives. Elections are a major part of governance, and the media plays a key role during this period. The media educates voters, introduces candidates, reports campaigns, and monitors the electoral process. On election days, media coverage helps promote transparency and reduces the speed of rumors. This helps citizens make informed choices and strengthens democracy. The media also gives ordinary Nigerians a voice. Through phone-in programs, interviews, and social media engagements, citizens can express their opinions and raise concerns. This allows the government to hear directly from the people and encourages public participation in governance. Despite its importance, the media in Nigeria faces challenges. These include pressure from powerful individuals, threats to journalists, lack of funding, and the spread of fake news. Some media houses also struggle to remain independent. These challenges affect how effectively the media can perform in its role in governance. Without the media, governance would lack transparency. The media connects the government to the people, keeps leaders accountable, and helps citizens stay informed. A free and responsible media strengthens good governance and democracy in Nigeria. In the story of Nigeria's democracy, the media is more than just an observer, it is an active participant. By informing the public, holding leaders accountable, and giving voice to the people,
Welcome to Dursag Engineering and Services Limited. We hold several specialized permits with the Department of Petroleum Resources, are accredited with service and product codes by NIPEX, certified by Dun & Bradstreet, and proudly ISO 9001:2015 certified. Our areas of expertise cut across critical sectors, including manpower sourcing and supply, engineering services, construction and fabrication works, specialized procurement and supply, operations and maintenance services, and integrated marine services, delivering supply boats, crew boats, tugboats, barges, houseboats, and speed boats. At Dursag Engineering, we are committed to quality, safety, and timely delivery, ensuring that every project meets and exceeds expectations. Dursag Engineering and Services Limited, your trusted partner in delivering world-class engineering and energy solutions. Welcome to Dursag Engineering and Services Limited. We hold several specialized permits with the Department of Petroleum Resources, are accredited with service and product codes by NIPEX, certified by Dun & Bradstreet, and proudly ISO 9001:2015 certified. Our areas of expertise cut across critical sectors, including manpower sourcing and supply, engineering services, construction and fabrication works, specialized procurement and supply, operations and maintenance services, and integrated marine services, delivering supply boats, crew boats, tugboats, barges, houseboats, and speed boats. At Dursag Engineering, we are committed to quality, safety, and timely delivery, ensuring that every project meets and exceeds expectations. Dursag Engineering and Services Limited, your trusted partner in delivering world-class engineering and energy solutions.
This is TVM Express coming to you from the metropolitan town of Warri in Delta State. We'll begin today's show with a national security crisis. You've stories going around in the last couple of days. It almost seems like almost every other day, or if not every day, there is one security challenge or the other. We had the incidents at Kwara State, where a lot of terrorists were killed and some military officers were also killed. And we also have the incidents of GUO Motors, or the one that happened in Ore Benin Expressway, where some people were kidnapped and a driver was killed in the process. So prior to now, we've had major security challenges. You have the Abuja terror threats that even the U.S. consulate had to tell their people to be wary of the places they go to. Then there was the Nigeria Air Force NAF airstrike that killed some civilians. So we'll be looking at all this, and I'm not going to be here alone. I just got another notification. I hope the notification I'm getting is a repeat of the old notification. If not, it looks like I will confirm and will bring it to you. It's as if NAF also has done it again. But I will confirm and let you guys know as the show goes on. But I'm not alone. I'm here with, I'm Lawrence Agwele, and I'm here with Fred O'Neill, and we'll try to, as much as possible, make some sense about all these topsy-turvy of security challenges we are having in our nation states. Fred, you're welcome to the show this morning.
Yeah, it's always good to be here on TVM Express, and is so sad to know that Nigeria is kind of under siege right now, security-wise, and yeah, we'll look at what is going on in the nation. You talked about the Abuja threat. The U.S. consulate also making the embassy in Abuja issuing kind of alert, heightened alert, citing threats to its own facilities and, of course, schools right there in Abuja. You know, people look at it like what's going on because, truth be said, some form of, according to reports, internal documents leaked to the press suggesting that Boko Haram and ISWAP elements actively coordinating, strikes within the FCT and Niger State. Now, this isn't really good news because this is the seat of government, as it is talking about Abuja, and it has gotten to the point where even the seat of government is threatened. Now, the information did not actually come from the government itself, but it's coming in from the American embassy, and not really a good one as it is. But let's just hope that with the intelligence reports that were leaked, so to say, by the United States on the security issues in Abuja, if it's anything to go by, let's just hope that it is contained, and we hope that we will not have situations where we see things happening in other parts of the northeast part of Nigeria.
All right. You also had that some areas were given the security alerts in some areas. We have the Nigerian Customs Service receiving a memo as of April 2026. Internal memo revealed that credible reports that insurgent groups, including Boko Haram and ISWAP, are planning coordinated attacks to release detained terrorists and damage aviation infrastructure. Like you said, the U.S. Embassy also authorized departure. That was on the 8th of April. And the U.S. also issued a security alert on the 2nd of April that the attack can occur anywhere. And the targets that were identified, they identified the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, Kuje Correctional Center, Wawa Military Prison, and then military barracks and government building. Now, why do we still keep having this kind of security challenge in Nigeria? What exactly do you think we are doing wrong?
Over the course of these strikes from the insurgents in the different parts of the nation, most particularly the northeastern part of Nigeria, we've noticed something, kind of information that was released probably from the foot soldiers or those who are in the forefront. They are saying that there's a kind of compromising situations in the armed forces where information are being leaked to the insurgency camp, and so someone opined some time ago that it is a situation of, but I don't want to believe that. But that's the opinion of that person, not my opinion, saying that it's just a form of eliminating some set of soldiers. But like I said, it's not really about that. But let's go back to the question you asked now. Why do we have this kind of situations, and why can't we arrest this situation? Because now it's coming to Abuja, Aso Rock,
the seat of power. Exactly.
And it's not really a good thing. So I think, to the best of my knowledge, it's like we have to throw away this idea of, these guys are our Nigerian brothers, because I think that's one angle that we've been looking at it from, especially from the military angle, that if we kill these people, they are our own people. Why are we killing them? Why don't we get them into the society? I mean, if we can get them. But these guys are doing a lot of atrocities going forward, killing and
it seems only the military top brass actually share that emotion, that sense that, these are our brothers.
Yeah.
Because if you ask a lot of other Nigerians, I don't think they mind.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why we had that controversy that is going on now about that airstrike.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think if we have to believe in that particular argument or school of thought that the military have this idea or this thought of saying these are our Nigerian brothers, let's not kill them. I think they've thrown that all out away now because of that airstrike that they carried out. I think it is time for the military to go all out for these guys.
Yeah,
all out.
Talking about the airstrike, the military carried out an airstrike. I think that's yesterday. It's Tig in the same Zambisa forest, and they actually had some terrorist casualties among them. But unfortunately, earlier in the month, I think on the 11th of April too, there was an incident where the airstrike struck a market in Borno State, the Jili market. Yeah. And we had up to probably about 200 civilians have been killed in that blast. Amnesty International confirmed at least 100 deaths, including children, based on witness account and hospital data. The military initially claimed the precision strike on a non-terrorist enclave and logistic hub used by ISWAP and Boko Haram. And they asserted the area was a high-risk zone where civilian presence was restricted. But following widespread outrage, the Nigeria Air Force acknowledged a potential misfire and activated the Civilian Harm Accident Investigation Cell to conduct a fact-finding mission. Now, the problem I have is we're doing a good job trying to stop these terrorists, try to either fish them out or even get them killed, as the case may be. But how do you strike a market as a misfire?
Well, it's like they said, it was maybe misinformation, because I think the governor of that particular state came up to say that that place, yes, was formerly used by these terrorists, but it's a market that has been closed. You know.
So how come people were there?
which invariably means that people resumed the market. Because like the information coming in from the eyewitnesses and people resident in those areas said it was a market. Now, the military are saying that from their surveillance, what they saw was some kind of movement of, these terrorists on bikes and vehicles with some armory, and that's why they struck. Now, that's the information that came earlier on. Yeah, that was the information that came earlier on, and they said it was a mistake.
Now, I believe that was rash. If that was the information they got, then that decision was rashly taken. Yeah. Because you expect that you would follow up such information with secondary intelligence, making sure that, how many civilian casualties are close to the place? How are they interacting with civilians? Are they close to civilians? Because an airstrike, the issue with airstrike is it doesn't have sense. It doesn't have its own wisdom. So an airstrike cannot say, oh no, this is not the person, is this person. Where you send it, it goes there. Whoever, whatever, anything that is there is obliterated. So when we are using airstrike is probably one of the easiest things to do when it comes to doing things like this, because you just bomb everybody, right? But we need to consider civilians. I think the military should do a better job at considering civilians in all this. Even in the case of Sambisa Forest, there's also probability or possibilities that we still have civilians there. After all, people have been kidnapped. Do we know if some of the people in the forest are kidnapped victims that are being held against their will by all these terrorist people?
Now, this goes to show the level of intelligence that we have in the military. When we talk about intelligence reports, how intelligent is this intelligence? Right? So, like you rightly said, due diligence required that they should have done a thorough investigation before that airstrike, because definitely civilian casualties will be more than even the said terrorists, and that's how it happened. They were not affected. The terrorists weren't affected. It was more casualties. The casualties were more on civilians in that market.
Regarding the airstrike, what do we know and what do we not know? Let's compare what is verified and what has not been verified, because one of the major issues we have, which may not be a bad thing on its own, is getting factual stories from the military themselves is difficult. I like to believe that they do that for security reasons. So what do we know? We know that there was a military airstrike that occurred in northeast Nigeria at the Borno and Yobe axis. And we also know that the target was believed to be insurgent position, and that's the Boko Haram ISWAP link insurgents. Then there are significant civilians casualties reported, dozens to possibly over 100. That is according to Amnesty International. And the Nigerian military has acknowledged the strike and announced a probe or investigation into it. Then eyewitnesses claim the strike hits a civilian populated area, market community. Now, this is not even the first time. We've had incident like this in, I think it was in Zamfara State, if I'm not mistaken. Early this year in January, we had an airstrike in Tuga Kara village that killed about 20 people. 2024 too, there was that Sokoto State, that Bosch Sokoto State operation against armed group that led to an estimated 10 civilian deaths. So with the military saying they will investigate, to me, it sounds like same old thing, because it's not the first time it's happening, and it seems not to have changed. But what is not clear, we have what we don't know and what is unclear. For what are unclear, we do not know the exact death toll. We don't know how many people were killed. The figures vary depending on the source, the source of the information. Amnesty International have theirs. The people you will least likely expect to get information from is the military. Most times they seem not to be able to say anything about things like that. Then you have who was exactly targeted. You have confirmed the insurgent presence. Then, but like Fred has said, was faulty intelligence. The intelligence was not that intelligent after all.
At all.
Then we do not know. They haven't told us. They said it's a misfire. We are only speculating what it is, because we do not know if it was a miscalculation. The intelligence may be proper, and maybe the person who was in charge of picking out the coordinates miscalculated, or the information was a failure. Either way, we do not know if it was a miscalculation or an intelligence failure. We don't know if proper verification protocols were followed before the strike. Then also accountability, which is always downplayed in scenarios like this in this country.
True.
We hardly hear anybody's held accountable. Nobody loses their
So
job.
heads will roll, and we're not seeing any heads that is rolling.
Nigeria is one country that nobody loses their job over serious issues like this. They just go in insane environment. I don't want, okay, let me not use the word sane, because it now sounds like we're insane.
Yeah.
In environments where things are done properly, the Minister of Defense and Chief of Staff should be facing the Senate right now, explaining why why a number of people are dying.
But you know, that's what we had also security-wise too, but down to the police force, where the former IGP Egbetokun was also called forward to come and give account of some certain things that were happening. Nothing.
So it is. I think what is even more scary to me is not that military can have misinformation and civilians die. What scares me the most is nothing happens. Like, it just killed people. You come and apologize. I just say it's a misfire. Then continue the next day, business as usual. Nobody was booked, or if people were booked, nobody is telling anybody about it. No action, no nothing. So no, there was no accountability. We don't know if anyone was sanctioned, and we don't even know if the victims we compensated. I don't know if they were compensated, and we don't know if how they will be compensated. So the biggest concern we have is the absence of answers or absence of information. So that is what is unclear and disputed right now. So moving forward, do we think, or do you think, Fred, that Nigeria is entering a new phase of insecurity right now?
Yes, I think so, because the level of insecurity right now is multidimensional and it is worrisome. Earlier on, before I came on the show, I was discussing with one of us here behind the camera that there was a report somewhere in Lagos, I think yesterday, by 11 a.m., armed youths, about 15 or more, at 11 a.m. paraded the streets, raided the street from shop to shop and anybody along the road, brandishing guns and machetes. For more than 2 hours, they operated. Where's the police? In Lagos.
Lagos is further. In Ejeba, close to us here. People were flogging people and driving people from churches on Sunday.
Yeah, that's like a community thing. That's a community thing. We are talking about something, because it's just, the one you're talking about is just directed towards the church.
The church, okay.
This one is on a street at 11 a.m. for more than 2 hours. There was no police presence. They successfully raided and they left.
Interestingly, when we move a few posts from that area, you will see police posts. I won't be surprised you just see police posts there.
Yes, the insecurity level right now in Nigeria has taken a new dimension. It has taken, it wasn't like this. It is so widespread right now that at least every other states have been touched by insecurity, one way or the other.
Yeah.
You know, so, and it's worrisome. And the worrying thing about this, the level of insecurity we have right now, is that it's just few months to the general election.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's worrisome. I don't know. I know the campaigns will begin very soon. I don't know what they'll be campaigning about.
The Senate president actually came up to say that the insecurity is politicized. That it is opposition or people who want to discredit this current administration. That when I hear excuses like that, I used to be a fan of that man, but sometimes he breaks my heart.
Of who?
Senator Akpabio, before he became Senate President, though.
Wow.
But sometimes the man breaks my heart when he says certain things, because it's like, the way I describe it is like a father trying to explain away why people come to his house every two market days or every two days to take away his children under his nose, him not doing anything, not trying to explain, and the explanation is given is the other family that is having issues with my family. They just keep coming, and you are not doing anything about it. You are not trying to prevent it. Your explanation, you're just trying to explain it away.
And you know what baffles me in all of these insecurity matters, especially the ones that are happening even as we speak. As of yesterday, terrorists raided, you know, I don't want to say cantonment, a military base somewhere in the north, I think, whether in Kwara or Borno State, and killed 3 soldiers.
3 soldiers were killed. And they added a lot of terrorists were killed. They didn't give us the numbers.
So, in all of this, I still find that it's difficult to understand how the commander-in-chief of this republic is not saying anything or doing anything.
I see that. I'm even. What's even more flabbergasting to me is I'm still trying to figure out how we even got here in the first place. Because I used to remember a childhood that was quite different. The biggest fear we had was ritual killing.
Yeah.
That was the biggest fear we used to have then, that, oh, you pick something on the ground, you will change to yam. Those kind of things. You can hardly grab a child from the streets without people interfering. Even as a parent, you could hardly maltreat your child without somebody verifying if that was actually your child. But these days now, that one now looks like the smallest challenge we have. You can just want to travel to visit your people and something just happens. And what happens is not a vehicle accident.
You know, this whole thing started from us. You know, we cared less. That's how we got where we are today. We cared less. You just mentioned something back in the days. When you see someone dragging a child, you want to verify if that child is yours. That's how it was back then. But these days, nobody cared. Even what we now see is, instead of showing concern, we pick our phone and start making videos.
Start making videos of it.
Everybody wants to be a journalist.
All right, let's look a little bit more on the airstrike that killed civilians. Now, what are the rules of engagement for encounter terrorism in Nigeria? Now, I have here that the rules of counter-terrorism are kind of the internal directives that guide security forces, primarily the armed forces of Nigeria, and the Nigerian police force on when and how much force may be used. Now, that is the question. Is there a rule on engagement? If there's a rule of engagement that guides our security on how much force should be used, then what does the rule say when you are engaging on, you want to engage criminal elements in a civilian space? Is airstrike the best thing to do? That is the question. Now, there was a Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act that defines terrorism and empowers the National Counter-Terrorism Center to coordinate all counter-terrorism efforts. But the key principle of engagement is that there's distinction and proportionality. Security forces are required to distinguish between combatants and civilians, ensuring that any force used is proportional to the threats. Now, there are a lot of questions that can be asked from that incident. Because first of all, your intelligence say there are terrorists in the area. What were the terrorists doing at that point in time that warranted airstrike? The civilians there, was a threat to life? Were they trying to do something harmful? What exactly were they doing? So troops are also trained to follow specific protocols when engaging suspects to minimize collateral damage and avoid escalating political tensions. then intelligence-led operations, then there is also accountability and human rights. But you see all this crumbling now, that even in just Plateau State, where you would expect that they are going to welcome the military with open arms, they were protesting against them yesterday, that they should leave. Like, we don't understand why you are here.
Yeah, true.
We have no idea what you are doing in this place.
They have every reason to say that.
So it goes to show that there is either a disconnect on how our military personnel, especially the newer ones, probably do not understand a lot of these things. Maybe the rush to train and recruit people to fight terrorism now makes it difficult to get these people entrenched in a lot of these rules, so they know how to operate, follow protocols, and make sure things are done the proper way. Or maybe the hierarchy does not even just care.
Well, from, you could make a case for or against the military's intelligence gathering, and of course with these rules of engagement, that is an international thing that every sovereign nation should observe, especially when they have an armed force. The simple truth of the matter is, I think the Nigerian army, or our defense system, defense system, needs an overhaul. I think we've just as it is that some time ago, if you remember, was it Oshomole as governor of Edo State, or what was his name again? Obaseki, where they had to do a re-interviewing of teachers. Okay, yeah, I think Oshomole did that. Yeah, and where we saw some casualties. Well, some teachers falling by the wayside. I think that's what the Nigerian defense has to go through, because you read out some of the aspects of the intelligence rules of engagement. You could see that they didn't follow all of that. Exactly. That's why I said the intelligent ones. How am I not even sure that those were the ones that were forcefully retired by the president? And what we have, in quotes, what we call here korofos. Exactly. That do not even know the rules of engagement. The rules of engagement. Because look at how they are being killed. Exactly. It's still look at the way they are being killed. They are just killed anyhow. Nigerian military. So I think maybe the whole system, like you said, should be overhauled, should be looked into, because at some point Nigeria was optimized to combat civil war. After the civil war, you have a lot of things that were done just to make sure that things like the civil war do not occur again. They were even involved in peacekeeping missions in some West African countries. So where we were hailed by the international community that Nigerian, defense or army were the best in that peace mission. So maybe our army now needs to be retrained on how to operate in civilian environments, because operations like this are what you carry out in full-blown war. When you have a full-blown war, you have what do they call it in military? An area where this is where the enemies are. But let's look at it categorically, Mr. Lawrence. What's the role of the military? If I can remember correctly, one of the major roles is defending sovereignty and border and integrity. Territory. Good. What's the role of the police? Enforcing internal law and order. Security and what have you. So, if you want to go by that now, the question now will be, the state we are security-wise, are we at war? Because we could be at war. If we now have security personnel being killed by these terrorists, these terrorists are bombing and the rest, are we at war? I love where this conversation is going now. The Nigerian government is not seeing it that we are at war. Okay. If they had seen that, because remember, most of these ISWAP and Boko Haram people are coming in through the border. Yeah. From Niger, Chad. Wow. So this is, yes, the word insurgency. This is what we are seeing. And this is what I have been saying to some persons who care to listen that Nigeria is being invaded. Probably want to be annexed.
By who?
By these people now.
Maybe that
Do you know why I said
that portion of the
Do you know why I
country.
said so? You know, there's a particular part of this northeast where they said, remember, they kidnapped recently some people and they were demanding for billions of naira.
Yes, exactly. To do what with?
Who does that?
That was the question I asked.
Who does that?
Why would you ask for that amount of
That,
money?
as if that's not enough, there's a particular part of that northeast where farmers can't go to the farm without paying levies.
Yeah, exactly. There are even some parts of the northeast. I don't know if that has been scuttled now, but at some point we were having territories. We're having territories where you had ISWAP commanders ruling territories.
It's still happening. It's still existing.
Country.
It's still existing. That's why I said we are being invaded or probably being annexed by these people.
And the government are insisting.
So we have two form of government operating in Nigeria right now. There's the one led by President Bola Tinubu, and there's the one led by this ISWAP stroke Boko Haram people.
Okay. So
and they are spreading.
They are spreading. So in your opinion, we probably are at war. We just not what
we are at war, and the government has not declared it yet. That's the problem, because they know that when they declare it,
the game changes.
It changes.
Yeah, that's true. It changes. All right, we go on a break and then we will come back. We'll be looking at something outside insecurity, but could be a fallout from insecurity. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Dursag Engineering and Services Limited. We hold several specialized permits with the Department of Petroleum Resources, are accredited with service and product codes by NIPEX, certified by Dun & Bradstreet, and proudly ISO 9001:2015 certified. Our areas of expertise cut across critical sectors, including manpower sourcing and supply, engineering services, construction and fabrication works, specialized procurement and supply, operations and maintenance services, and integrated marine services, delivering supply boats, crew boats, tugboats, barges, houseboats, and speed boats. At Dursag Engineering, we are committed to quality, safety, and timely delivery, ensuring that every project meets and exceeds expectations. Dursag Engineering and Services Limited, your trusted partner in delivering world-class engineering and energy solutions.
Democracy had an engine room, the National Assembly would be right at the center of it. From lawmaking to keeping government powers in check, this arm of government plays a crucial role in how Nigeria is run. But what exactly does the National Assembly do, and why does it matter to us as everyday Nigerians? Let's break it down.
The National Assembly is Nigeria's federal legislature, established under the 1999 Constitution. It is responsible for making laws for the entire country and represents the Nigerian people at the national level. Nigeria operates a bicameral legislature, meaning the National Assembly has two chambers. The first is the Senate, which consists of 109 members. Each of Nigeria's 36 states elects 3 senators, while the Federal Capital Territory elects 1. The second chamber is the House of Representatives, made up of 360 members elected from federal constituencies across the country, based largely on population. Together, these two chambers ensure that both population size and geographical spread are represented in national decision-making. So why does Nigeria operate 2 legislative chambers instead of 1? The bicameral system is designed to promote balance and careful decision-making. While the House of Representatives reflects population distribution, the Senate ensures equal representation of each state. This structure prevents dominance by more populous regions and encourages broader national consensus before laws are passed. It also creates an internal system of checks where both chambers review and debate legislation independently. The primary responsibility of the National Assembly is lawmaking. A proposed law, known as a bill, can be introduced by a lawmaker or forwarded by the executive arm of government. Each bill goes through a structured process. The first reading, where it is formally introduced. The second reading, where principles are debated. The committee stage, where detailed examination takes place. And the third reading, where final approval is sought. Public hearings may be held, allowing experts, civil society groups, and citizens to contribute to the process. Once passed by both chambers, the bill is sent to the president for assessment. If the president refuses to sign, the Constitution allows the National Assembly to override that decision with a 2/3 majority, reinforcing legislature's independence. But the work of the National Assembly doesn't stop at lawmaking. One of its most critical responsibilities is oversight. This means monitoring how government ministries, departments, and agencies carry out their duties. Through committee hearings, investigations, and summons, the National Assembly can question public officials on policy implementation and spending. Ministers and heads of agencies are required to explain their actions and justify the use of public funds. This oversight role is vital for transparency, accountability, and preventing misuse of power. One of the most influential powers of the National Assembly lies in the nation's finances. Each year, the President presents the national budget to a joint session of the National Assembly. Lawmakers review the proposed spending, debate allocations, and make necessary amendments. No government can legally occur without the approval of the National Assembly. The legislature also approves external and domestic loans, monitors government borrowing, and ensures that the public funds are spent according to approved budgets. This authority gives the National Assembly significant influence over Nigeria's economic priorities and development plans. Members of the National Assembly are elected to speak for the people. Lawmakers represent specific constituencies and senatorial districts. They raise motions, sponsor bills, and advocate for projects that reflect the needs of their communities. Ideally, this ensures national policies consider the realities on ground, from infrastructure and education to security and healthcare. Through this representative role, citizens' concerns are meant to reach the federal level. The National Assembly also serves as a guardian of the Constitution. It has the power to amend the Constitution, approve key appointments such as ministers and ambassadors, and confirm judicial nominees. In extreme cases, the National Assembly can initiate impeachment proceedings against the President, Vice President, and other top officials following constitutional procedures. These responsibilities help maintain balance among Nigeria's three arms of government: the executive, legislature, and judiciary. Despite its importance, the National Assembly faces criticism. Issues such as low public trust, concerns over transparency, and debates around remuneration have shaped public perception. However, the effectiveness of the National Assembly often reflects broader democratic challenges, including voter participation, accountability, and civic engagement. Strengthening the legislature ultimately requires active citizen involvement and sustained democratic pressure.
In simple terms, the National Assembly makes laws, checks government powers, controls public spending, and represents the people. While debates continue about performance and responsibilities, its role remains central to democracy. Understanding how it works helps citizens know where power lies and how to demand for better governance. Alright guys, that is all on this episode of Explained. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms. Follow, like, and share, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome back from that break, and you are still watching TVM. In case you just joined us, this is TVM Express right here. All right, So away from security matters, in the meantime, I have also in the studios with us to discuss the country's economic reality right here. Mr. Frederick Momoh is right here with us. Good morning, Mr. Frederick Momoh.
Good morning, Mr. Fred. I'm
Okay.
always glad to be here.
It sounds interesting, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Fred,
Mr. Fred,
and
Mr.
Mr. Fred. Okay, it's all good. All right, now we want to look at the economic reality of the nation right now, because as we speak, oil production has gone up a little compared to before, which is interesting. And we're going to be looking at it vis-a-vis the cost of living. It seems to be like there's a crisis in that aspect, but I'll leave you to do us that honors. And of course, we'll look at the inflation rate right now as fuel prices have hit, you know, I don't want to say rock bottom, but has hit a lot. But at least by now, we have per liter, we're saying 1,000, about 227 naira.
Approximately about 1,300.
Okay, so I just want to read something out. Data coming from the NUPRC indicates that there's a significant rebound of oil production. Like I said earlier on, we have reached 1.84 million barrels per day as of this month of April, which is a level that has not been seen in years, that's why I said earlier on there's a surge, upward surge in production. Now, on the streets, because now we've heard about this data that we can now produce 1.84 million barrels per day, which definitely will turn into money for us. Exactly. Because right now, I think the benchmark for Brent crude is about $100 and something to a barrel. So when you equate that, the people on the streets are not seeing the revenue